I have completed the 30 hard challenge, and I can say it will likely change the course of my life forever. The 30 hard challenge is a lighter version of the 75 hard challenge. Over 30 days, I had to follow 6 specific rules, even though I actually had a goal of maintaining my weight. The challenge was so different from my normal life that there was no way that my body was not gonna change. So in this video, I'm gonna go over my day 1, pictures, measurements, weight. I'm gonna go through each section. We're gonna talk about the diet, exercise, no alcohol, the personal development piece. Then at the end, I'm going to share my progress pictures, my new measurements, and would I do this challenge again, and how mentally I feel like I've changed for the better because of this challenge. Let's go. If you're new here, my name is Rachel. I'm a certified Pilates instructor and occupational therapist. I am turning 37 this year. I've got 2 kids, and I wanted to do a 30 hard challenge because I'm pretty good about working out, but I've got a few vices, some things that I wanted to work on, and I just felt like overwhelmed, overworked, needed something different. Now, I posted a video a month ago about me starting this challenge. I went through the rules. I even created a 30-day workout calendar because I create Pilates and fitness workouts on YouTube. So I've seen so many of you go through it as well, and I can't wait to hear what your experience of the 30 hard challenge was. I'll link that above if you want to look at that because that has a lot of helpful information as well. Now you might think I have a little edge because I have a fitness YouTube channel, but really, this is a very sedentary job. I'm on my computer probably 80% of the time. And I've got little kids, so it can be difficult to pull myself away from work, try to fit in a workout. My goal for the challenge was to get in more activity, to not drink alcohol for 30 days, something I haven't done in 5 years since I was pregnant with my youngest, to really take a look at my diet because I haven't tracked calories or anything like that in years. So I was very curious how my current meals look numbers-wise, trying to get outside more after the winter. And then ultimately, I was just curious, like, are all these little habits going to change the way that I look? I didn't have a weight loss goal because I felt like, I'm at a healthy weight anyway, but I did figure that if I'm pulling out alcohol, if I'm taking a look at my diet, if I'm exercising more, that I likely will see changes in my body. And I wanted to see if my husband would do it with me too, because as you know, if you have a spouse, they impact your habits a lot. So I thought this was gonna be a lot easier to do if he could do it with me. This is Brian, my husband. You wanna say like why you wanted to do the challenge with me?
She laid it on me, first of all.
It'd be good for him because he's got some things that he was working on a little bit more than I was. Next one is alcohol. So that was a huge change for you.
Well, I'm a lot of fun when I drink.
I've included little bits of him talking and me interviewing him throughout the whole video. This experience really was life-changing for him as well. So my husband and I picked a date to start the challenge, and we booked a babysitter for the night before. So we thought, okay, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna go out, dinner, drinks, dancing. Then we can start fresh next morning. That was not the best plan. So not off to the best start, but let's keep going. So let's start right at the beginning, and I'll show you my day 1. So these are my true day 1 pictures. I was not feeling great taking these pictures because I had been out the night before. I was drinking. Honestly, my weight was up quite a bit more than it normally would be. So for the very first day, my weight was 129 pounds. I decided to take another set of measurements on day 2 because I thought, maybe that's not quite so accurate. So my weight was 127, which was closer to normal. And then my waist was definitely smaller, but everything else looked the same. The way I track true fat loss is by looking at the range of weights I normally have, and I show you the different ways that I usually see them. If fat loss is the true goal, it's not about seeing the smallest weight, it's about having this whole range go down. So let's begin and talk about diet first. My first step was to download the Carbon app because I wanted to see how many calories I was consuming and then what kind of macros that they would give me. I wanted to choose an app that I knew would be science-based in its recommendations and not one that would just make my calories really low and make me very miserable. So these are the steps we went through, and I was curious, am I going to have a terrible week? Is this going to be hard? Let's see. Hello. It's been a wonderful week. Okay, number 1 about my intake. So what am I eating? Very surprised at how low my protein is. I thought I was doing a lot better, but no, I'm not. And even with tracking, I'm still not hitting the protein targets that I'm supposed to. So I mean, it really made me reevaluate my breakfast, getting a lot more protein in the morning, more egg whites in addition to the eggs I was already eating. And then looking at my snacks, where could I fit in more protein? So this was my breakfast before. I do coffee with cream and agave, 2 eggs, avocado, and then sweet and spicy sriracha. Now, when I plugged it in at the beginning, I saw I need more protein, so I added 2 more eggs. And I saw I'm still not hitting my protein, like even at the end of the day. So I thought, okay, start with breakfast. So I added in 2 more egg whites. I did reduce the sriracha, so it's a little less carbs and sugar. And then I took out the butter because I was always over my fat goals. What was nice about using the Carbon app is I was able to plug in my goal, which was to maintain my weight. They gave me 1,800 calories. And then from there, I was able to see what macros should I be eating. You can pick what kind of diet you want. So I picked reduced carb at first, and I realized I guess I like carbs more than I thought. So I switched to balance, and it looked a lot better. I did reach out to them at the end of the challenge, and you can now get a carbon discount in my description of this video. Food-wise has become easier, especially I'm really glad I tracked in the beginning so I could see proportions of how to add in more protein. So I'm trying to get that protein shake in the middle of the afternoon, trying to add egg whites in the morning. So this became a sample day for me. I had that same breakfast I showed you. I do things like a taco salad for lunch, spaghetti for dinner, and then try to do like a protein shake with spinach and fruits, and then those kind bars that I love so much. Now I eat pretty consistent throughout the week. I don't eat a ton extra on the weekends. My husband's kind of different. He would do intermittent fasting during the week, and then he would eat like a lot on the weekends, and he loves candy. So his goal was to try to cut out the candy and then to track his calories to see like how am I eating enough, especially to gain muscle. All right, so then when it came out to the diet itself, like you eat pretty healthy.
I did go into this wanting to gain muscle. Here was the beauty of this whole thing. Carbon, I was able to see, oh, I'm at a deficit. Intermittent fast until 1 o'clock, have a huge, what I thought was a huge lunch, thinking, oh, that's a substantial amount of food to give me fuel for the day.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. At that point, that's where I stepped up my diet, more protein, more carbs, and it worked out.
Yeah, that's good.
Obviously.
Oh my God. Overall, we learned so much from tracking, and now I continue to eat the meals that I love with just these small changes after seeing the numbers of what my current meals were. Now, for those of you who also did the challenge with me, what was your biggest takeaway with the eating part? Did anything surprise you about your diet? Exercise-wise, it's been good. I've been doing my workouts, mostly strength training, mix of strength training and Pilates, and then trying to get that second, it's supposed to be a second workout. But for me, I'm like, I'm gonna walk, or I'm just gonna try to get outside with my kids. Either play on the swing set in the backyard or go for a bike ride. Reflections on week 2. One of my goals has been to do more cardio. So I thought, maybe I should join like Orange Theory. I feel like people don't really do that much anymore because people are not into cardio as much. But for me, because that's one of my goals, I thought I want to really see how I can push myself, especially sprinting wise. So joined it this past week. This is what a typical workout is like. It is a rowing, strength, and a treadmill workout. So it's pretty hard. I'm only going to go maybe once or twice a week. My main workouts are all at home. But was really happily surprised with my cardio fitness level. And it really is a testament to the YouTube cardio workouts I've been creating and making at home, because I could do a lot more than I thought. So Sunday I had my husband come too. We did a class together. It was so fun. We got a babysitter. We went out to breakfast after. So that was something that we don't normally do, but we're just so like fresh and ready to go on a Sunday morning now that it was like the perfect thing to do. I feel overall, I genuinely am just happier. I don't know if it's from not drinking alcohol or if it's from exercising more, sleeping better. It's probably a combination of everything, but I genuinely do feel significantly happier than I was even just a month ago. Workout wise, this was the first week where I had 2 days where I genuinely did not work out, and I had work, had to go into work to teach Pilates. I would have liked to have gotten something in, but it's like, then at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I could either spend time with my kids or I could do a workout. So I chose my kids. It's been really cool to wear the Whoop band and to see my heart rates throughout my workouts. I've never, like, I'm so late to the game in terms of wearable technology, like wearing an Apple Watch or anything like that. Have never had that. So to see my heart rate, to see, okay, what is it like when I'm doing my little stair workout, like just going up and down my stairs for 30 minutes? What's that like? What is it like when I go sprint? I am very motivated by the data and seeing you're pushing yourself, but you can push yourself a little more. So my goal is definitely getting in more of like zones 4 and 5, which are like a 5 is a full out sprint. I have gone to an Orange Theory class. I can definitely get into that zone 5 when I'm sprinting on the treadmill. So very new for me. I really don't do zone 5 very much. So I definitely want to continue that after these 30 days to really push myself. Like, I feel the most alive when I'm in zone 5, like when I'm killing it. I just love the feeling. And if you watch my first video, I said I wanted to see how fast I could run a mile. Now, I did not try this every week, and honestly, I should have. I just tried it like recently. Definitely had upped my cardio, so probably is better than what it was at the very start. So I went to a park that had a 1 mile loop. I ran it in 8 minutes and 23 seconds. I was really proud of myself. I thought I would do like a 10-minute mile. Saw the average for a woman my age, you know, in their like 35 to 40 is 12 minutes and I don't know, 43 seconds, something like that. You know, it actually was a super quick way to get in a good workout. So I feel like I'm going to keep that up. I'm going to go at least every week or every other week and try to do a mile loop and see how quickly I can do it. Let's go over workout stuff. So how was the 30 hard workout period different than what you were doing before?
Part I had fun with was when I would push myself 1 week and I thought it was the hardest thing I've done.
Yeah.
And then I'd go back and do the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't that hard? At one point, I was about 220 pounds and I would say fit, right?
Yeah.
Athletic.
Like when we met.
Correct.
Like in college, yeah.
And then I gained a lot of weight. I got up to like 245 pounds and was uncomfortable. I had terrible back pain, my joints, everything. And essentially I started running and high aerobic activity. That's where I got down to 185. But then I couldn't get that same physique back. And that's when I had to make that transition.
Yeah, I like that physique. I like the muscle.
Yeah.
The biceps.
You know, like all noodle arms?
No. We had a great weekend going to a park with the kids. They rode their bikes. There was a trail, so we were able to run and walk alongside them. I just feel like maybe because we're just changing habits overall and the weather's getting nicer, we are just getting out as a family more. It's things that we've always wanted to do, and maybe also it's because our kids were younger and it's so difficult to take out little kids. But I feel like we're really developing new habits as a family together that we can continue on through the summer and hopefully keep going from there. And for those of you who did the challenge too, what was the best way for you to fit and exercise, especially if you had little kids? Drinking wine, I thought that'd be a lot harder than it has been. I think because I know I absolutely cannot, I do better with that. That indecision of should I not, and then you finally cave and you feel stress relief because you don't have to have that conflict in your head. That is what makes it hard. So to fully know, no, it's absolutely not an option. We've done really well with that. Reflections on week 2, it felt so much easier. Especially with the drinking part. Little week 3 update. So yeah, it's been going well. I think the alcohol part's, like, of all the rules, that one's the easiest because that's just a clear-cut no. Overall, my experience with the no drinking, I mean, it really was a big change for me. Like I said in my earlier video, I was someone who usually drank a glass of wine with dinner. And as much as I was hoping I was not using it for stress management, I mean, it definitely helps take the edge off. I think part of why I was not taking it out is because I had just really good health. Like, I exercise a lot. When I would go get my blood work done at the doctor, it was amazing. So even though I know there's more research coming out, it's like, there's really no benefit to it. And seeing things like it could increase your risk of getting cancer in the future, I thought there's really no benefit to having a glass of wine every night. My husband was the same. Like, his blood work was amazing, but he too was like, am I using this for stress relief? He really wanted to work on that. So especially if you can relate to this section being a little difficult, I think you'll really like what he has to say. Okay, next one is alcohol. So that was a huge change for you.
Well, I'm a lot of fun when I drink. No, when it became obvious on this journey that that was one of the major vices that I could justify in my life. That was the best part of the challenge. It's like, why would I go back to being mediocre?
Yeah.
In that sense.
Especially if you know like your future self, like who do you envision yourself being at 40? Like for both of us, because we are getting up there, it's like people who don't drink during the week, right?
Yes.
Like people who are, yeah, if you want to be like as elite as possible.
Yes.
In all areas. It's like that's one
and
thing.
And any of you that know me.
He wants to be elite in all areas.
You understand. The gains were tangible once I started to cut that out. Not only because of my workouts and the quality of my workouts, my sleep.
He got us the Whoop. And just to see the way it affects your sleep is astonishing. Like, you really realize that you are not functioning at 100% at all. This is what I'm talking about. So this is tracking my sleep with the Whoop app. And you can see I had a great night's sleep, good deep sleep. And in the morning, you get a recovery score. So what was your heart rate looking like last night? Now let's compare that to a night where I had 2 glasses of wine. You can see right away, look at the very beginning where I first started to go to sleep. My heart rate is a lot higher after I have been drinking. There's other few things to notice here. You can see I had the exact same amount of sleep, but my REM sleep was much higher when I did not have drinks. So this causes you to wake up with a low recovery score. And it's not just from having light sleep and not getting that deep sleep. It's also the heart rate variability. So that's the time between your heartbeats when you're sleeping. It goes down quite a bit. It can be red for other reasons, but for me, I know that that was from drinking. Let's see what Brian said.
And I told all my friends, I preach this. The Whoop has been one of the best things for me as far as this journey. Mm-hmm. And then where I'm going to go afterwards with all this data I've collected. Yes, did I want to drink at the end of some of those stressful nights?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
You would come home from work and like, especially on a stressful day, I noticed you would talk so much more about it. And normally like you might talk a little and that's it. But like, that's what we realized with not having alcohol is like you were forced to deal with it. Like you had absolutely no escape that night, you know? So it's
Correct.
like better because then you have to process through it. And then you come into the next day having extra hours of thinking through it, like whether you wanted to or not, you know?
What I did know about alcohol, but I didn't know it was just that little thing that gave me an edge. I wake up just processing the evening before, the work before. I was just delaying the inevitable, right. Which was the digestion of your emotions.
Yeah. So these are my final thoughts about the no alcohol experience. I'm so glad we did it. And now adding in, we're not doing it as much. And I think the Whoop really helps. As I was reviewing the footage, I realized I hardly talked about this piece at all. But the main thing for me was I wanted to start reading before bed and I wanted to meditate before bed. I can link below the meditation that I use. It's a hypnosis meditation, which really helps me feel like stress relief. And I felt like I slept great the whole challenge. Of course, I was exercising more and I'm sure that helped. And I wasn't drinking, so I'm sure that helped. But overall, this is always going to be a work in progress for me. I want to really evaluate, where I'm at, what kind of excuses I make for myself. And I want to be a great example for my kids. Now, a few years ago, I was thinking personal development is kind of like self-help. And those are the kind of podcasts I used to listen to. But a lot of it was so much reflection on the past and your childhood. And honestly, most of the time I ended up feeling worse after listening to those. So I changed a few years ago to more of like, personal development, things about entrepreneurs succeeding. I know a big part of personal development is seeing where you came from, why you have been conditioned to do certain things. But there's something about listening to someone's story and seeing how far they've gotten that makes me excited for the future. it makes me think, wow, if I just keep working hard, I can affect so many lives and I can continue to grow whatever it is I want to grow. Who you marry has a huge impact on this personal development piece. Then one of the other things was to read 10 pages of a book a day. You always do audiobooks, right? Podcasts. What were your favorite ones?
I like to bend the rules. So I count
Audiobooks.
I count audiobooks.
Like that's who you are anyway. You already do that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Which is good. Well, I mean, you just use your time to listen to something like Jocko.
You caught me off guard with a compliment.
Sorry. I should go more often, I guess. He looked at me, he's like so confused. You didn't want me to out that you like really listen to podcasts. I was like, what's wrong with that?
No, she said something nice. What were we talking about?
Even just in the past 4.5 years since we've lived here, even before that, I think you were listening to things like Jocko, like personal development stuff, ownership.
Well, it's
which is bad for me. If you're wondering why it's bad for me, it's because if you live with someone who believes in extreme ownership, you cannot complain about anything without them saying, well, what can you do about it? I honestly think I just developed that because I'm like, oh, people get off your back when you can complain about like health issues or like something's hard in your life. I don't know. But my husband is not like that at all. And he doesn't let me get away with it, which actually I appreciate. He's honestly taught me to take ownership of my life. I used to think I just need more help. That's what's going to make me happier. But really, it was taking a look at my own habits and how it's contributing to my own misery. I'm still the same person. I still have worries and these thoughts come up, but I'm able to move into action so much faster now. So I think he's got some wise words to say here.
It did boil down to one, taking accountability for self. And then once we were both on those individual journeys, that's the light we are today. Like, because we, for 2, 3, 4 years, tried to change bad habits.
Right. And I think like, because I am always consuming content that's like be more gentle and whatever. And it's like, what I've learned from you, you don't really make a lot of changes if you're being told all that stuff. But if you can, like place a small demand on someone or you place a small demand on yourself.
For the right reasons, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's a fun game when you start to challenge yourself to be a better person.
Right.
That was the magic of that 30 days. It was fun to be alive, and it was fun to see what life could be.
Final thoughts. I feel like these are the deep activities that help us succeed more in life, help us be happier, and help us have a greater impact on others. I have made it through 30 days. I don't know. I just can't believe it. It just felt so hard. Like in the beginning, a few of the rules seemed a little harder than the others, but I'm so happy I did it. And honestly, I want to continue it. All right, now let's go over my progress pictures and my measurements, the final results. Now, if I had to guess what would change in my body, I thought my waist measurement might go down because I was not drinking alcohol anymore. I was still trying to lift and run, but I figured my hip measurement would be the same and maybe my chest would go down a little if my stomach was going down. And weight, I was trying to keep the same, so I was curious if that was going to change too. So let's see what happened. So starting with my measurements, my weight went down 2 pounds, and then I saw the biggest changes in my waist and in my hips. I was shocked by the hips one, but I'm assuming it's because of all the running. My waist was likely from the diet changes and from no alcohol. So this is what I look like picture-wise from the start, and then day 30 can definitely see the difference in the abs. I did notice the chest size difference, so I wore a smaller top here so you could see more ab definition as well. Then from the back, I feel like you can see the hips somewhat difference here. I'm hoping it's not muscle loss and that's just from running, but we'll see. Definitely got to keep up strength training. Last view from the side, definitely feeling strong, and I'm still the same size, but the summer clothes I've been bringing out are definitely a little more loose. So now we look at the normal weight range. I went down about 2 pounds for everything. I feel like in general, it's more helpful to think of, instead of having a weight loss goal, like having a weight loss range, because it's very normal to have weight fluctuations and it's not something we should psych ourselves out over. So here's what I think contributed to the weight loss and body changes for me. Expending more energy per day, getting more sleep, and really prioritizing that bedtime routine. Sleep has a huge role in weight loss. Seeing what my current meals look like number-wise, and then making a few small changes. No alcohol was less calories there and helped me sleep better. And I mentioned it in my first video, but I kept in all the foods that I normally love, so I felt satisfied after every meal. Building in those stress-reducing activities helped me not look for food for comfort. I've seen so much criticism about this challenge, about the 75 hard challenge, with the rigid rules that it's kind of setting up to fail. But I'm someone who, I'm okay if it's not 100% perfect. Like for the alcohol one, yes. That one is like a yes or no, but if I don't read 10 pages, if I read 1 page, I'm okay with that. If I am so sore that I had to take a rest day, I am willing to do that. I'm not going to beat myself up over it. That's, at least for me, that's the mentality that I went into this with, and that helped me to, instead of saying, oh, I'm not doing it perfect, I can't do it, or I should just stop, I'm like, okay, couldn't work out today, really wish I could have, but just didn't happen, and let's do it tomorrow. I think what's cool about this is that it's, you know, when you just diet, like let's say you want weight loss, if you just diet, does that really change your kid's life much? Probably not. This is the kind of challenge where it could change your family's life for the better. So would I ever do this challenge again? Honestly, the way that I think about it now is, you know, my life was headed in one direction before, and this idea to do this challenge and then doing it made my life go from here to here. I genuinely feel like the cascading effect of me changing habits in my life that I already knew I needed to change and actually doing it, I'm now looking at other things like, how can I get my house more organized? How can I get better about my finances? Like, I'm looking at things that had nothing to do with the challenge. And it had such a profound positive effect on both of us and on our family that my husband had a really good idea for when he would like to do it again. Yeah.
Like we were discussing, December's hard for me. I'm going to do this challenge again.
Thanksgiving to Christmas is always so bad mental health wise for you.
Yeah.
Like from your childhood, right? And
absolutely.
And it's a hard time for a lot of people. And yeah, like that would be a great time. Coming to the holiday season, no alcohol, you are exercising so much.
Crisp.
Yeah, super sharp.
Crisp.
Spending so much time with your kids.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a great idea.
Why
So definitely do
not
that.
be agile? Because that's how I felt during this challenge.
I feel like I'm going to cherish this experience and this video so much. I know I'm going to look back at it, especially just the way that YouTube is. Like, I'll be able to look at this video years from now and be like, wow, I changed the course of my life. That was the start of us changing so much. Yes, part of your motivation might be to change the way that you look, but the journey to get there, when it's more about developing habits you can have for the rest of your life, when it's about habits that can improve your family life, when it's about really looking in the mirror and saying, yes, I can be gentle with myself, but also I can push myself. Maybe that's a good thing. And if you completed this challenge, tell me below, what did you learn about yourself? And if you haven't done it, do it and come back here and tell us. I'll link the video that I had with the rules, the habit tracker, the workouts that I have on my channel that are free that you can do for 30 days. I hope you enjoy this video, and I will see you next time.
Paid actors.
Okay. Huh?
I'm a paid actor. I want to go back.
All right, you can go to bed.